Gyökeres, Alphonso Davies, Alvaro Fernandez, Manchester United are now being linked to a lot of players now. Ruben Amorim is confirmed. And while most of those links probably don't have much credibility, it's always nice to sort of speculate on what he might do. And in today's video, I'm joined with Adam from Forever United TV, where we're going to be picking the perfect signings for Ruben Amorim, going through each position, and at the end, picking our perfect six. Hello, Adam. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm good, thanks, Alice. Always happier when United get a win, especially in Europe, like we said off air. Then it's been a long wait for a European win, and we can go into the weekend with a little bit more of a spring in our stepper.
Yeah, 380 days. That shouldn't have even got to that long. Especially in the Europa League as well. And we're
Yeah.
not. And in the Champions League, we played Copenhagen, Galatasaray, who did beat Tottenham, to be fair. But I can't believe how bad we've been in Europe. But hopefully, Amorim turns the corner for us.
Yes, this is the hope, isn't it? It's the hope that kills you, Alice, at the end of the day. But I think from what we watched with Sporting and how they played against City the other night, what players United have actually got in our team, we can start to piece together little bits that might actually work for us and think about the possibilities of us playing a better brand of football. And like we're doing today, in the future, we can actually maybe handpick the exact type of player and profile and position that we need instead of going a bit scattergun in the transfer window like we have in previous years.
Yeah, 100%. Now, I'm going to just start with you in general because we might get one or two signings in January, but I think the bulk of it will come in the summer. Is there a position or a couple of names that you think we've got to try for them in January?
Oh, do you know what? On my list of players that I'm actually looking at, and do you know what? In a realistic sense, there are certain players you could go for because of their situation come the summer, i.e., the players that are on a free transfer. Now, one that springs to mind that I think Manchester United should go for, but the area is congested, and without me knowing exactly what the plan is for the summer, I'm not going to know the plan, obviously, because we're fans, but the uncertainty is the position of where Angel Gomez plays. Now,
Yeah,
I would bring Angel Gomez straight back in, but I look at Bruno, I look at Mount, I look at other players there. Until I know sort of who is leaving, it fears that I'm just bringing another player into a congested area of the field. But in terms of availability,
right.
Alice, that's the only way I look at it. I wouldn't buy anyone, is my honest opinion in January. I
Really?
don't want to waste money on players that are make weight. I'd rather
Yeah,
deal with
not
what we've got
Weghorst.
and get the right player in the summer, Alice. That's probably how I would do it. But I would say Angel Gomez is available because of his situation, and you could spend if you wanted to. Put money in there and get him in before he goes for free. That might be a way of getting him ahead of everyone else. But past that, I don't see the right profile there that I think is available.
Yeah, no, I'm completely with you on that. It's difficult because I look at players that I'd like, and I think left wing back and midfield could be two areas to add to because of fitness of midfield. I think Angel Gomez, if Ericsson leaves, is probably
Yes.
a good approach, especially because Ericsson came for free. Angel Gomez could come on a free if we don't get him in January. Could get him on a pre-agreement for the summer. So I do agree on that as well. Now, in my opinion, I think the most important position that we address, whether it be in January, whether it be in the summer, is left wing back. Do you agree on
Mhm.
that? And do you have any names in mind?
Left wing back, there's one man for me. I did a show on it the other day. I agree with the position as well. Now you could look at this and you could say, look, this for me, there's three different options for United right now. There's the obvious cheap option, which is promoting, say, Harry Hamas. We
Mm,
spoke about this before. Profile, energy, what he can do. I watched him the other night in the under-21s as well. Shaky start to the game, but overall, decent performance in the end. Maturing very well as well, I feel. I don't think he's a million miles away. You've obviously then got your Alvaro Fernandez situation where he could come
yeah.
back possibly with our buyback option. But number one, Alice, has to be
Is it good
Alphonso
enough?
Davies. It has
Yeah.
to be Alphonso. I mean, if we can do the only reason I'm saying this is, and obviously everyone knows where Real Madrid are with this situation, is I just look at this and go, look, if we can do it with Lenny Yoro, we can do it with Alphonso
Yeah. No, I
Davies.
did say that.
But
Um,
you have to sell a project to him, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm absolutely with you on that. I don't know if we'll be able to get him, but like he is perfect. He is the perfect man. And then you've got Alvaro, 16 million buyback clause. He could be all right, but we just don't know if he's going to be good in the Premier League, if he's going to replicate the levels of Davies. Another one, which was a player I wasn't 100% on under Ten Hag and sort of other managers that play a back four, but I did think under a back five, Ait Nouri could do quite well because he looks good going forward. And then the other name that springs to mind, but I don't think he's a back five player, was Robinson. I thought because he's a bit older, Harry Amas coming through, he's Premier League proven, you know what you get. He's one of the best left backs in the Premier League. But my only question mark around him is maybe, is he a back four player?
Yeah, this is the thing, isn't it? It's like I feel he's got the energy, Robinson. I do. What is he now? Like 27,
28.
28 into now. So I think experience, yes. Like you said, the integration factor. You've got to put everything into account with this. Like you just said, it's a good point about Amas or even an Alvaro coming in. If you can get Robinson on a decent deal, which I think we could, he might not be the player 6 years down the line, but if he can be the one in front of an Amas or someone like that to sort of integrate him into the side later down the line, then you could see the angle of that. And it's an interesting look on it as to, like, do you want to get a ready-made player in now who's going to be here for the next 7 or 8 years, or is there a stepping stone player to help out as well in that department? And I'm guessing Manchester United would look at all avenues with players like that. And have they got cover now? What's Malacia going to do? The unknown of Luke Shaw. Could he be that player that
We might
Robinson
need
is
two
with a mass coming through?
Yeah, it's so unknown at left back. The other name I've just put in there, and I haven't seen as much of him, but I've heard quite good things, and I've seen once or twice, is Dorgu, young, quite attacking fullback there, and I think that could definitely be one to watch. But I think I'd have to see a little bit more of him to comment on that. Now, I think centre back is going to be very important because I think Lindelof is gone, Evans is gone, and I don't know if Maguire's going to get his contract extended or not. I think with the wages, I don't think Ineos are 100% keen on that. So that is potentially 3 centre backs leaving. Martinez and De Ligt have had injury issues in the past. Leno Yoro's been injured. I think we need at least 2 centre backs in the summer. One maybe left-footed, one maybe right-footed again. I'm going to come to you first. Is there any names that stand out for you, or is there a couple names that you'd be interested in?
There is 2 that I would probably look at on my list that I think, because of the contractual situations, both entering the last 2 years this summer. The obvious one is Diamande, who is with Ruben Amorim right now. He's not going to buy anyone in January from Sporting, but we've both spoken about him before. The age, 20, he's turned into an absolute beast of a player. I just feel like he is perfect for what we need right now in terms of that type of controlling centre-back who is, I feel, and was the best defender in that performance against City the other night. I thought composure was outstanding, and that is what grabbed me more. I understand his other attributes, but he is calm. For a 20-year-old centre-back in that press situation that City had, I thought he shone above everybody else. The other one would be Schlotterbeck. I do like him. Another one who is entering the last 2 years of his contract right now. I just feel like he's another one at the right age, the right profile, and again, commanding. I wouldn't have an issue with any of these centre-backs playing for Manchester United, and that's the beauty of it. You obviously have to convince these players that you're in a rotation system, but can you imagine them types of defenders sitting behind what we've already got and coming in and replacing them? Your obvious other one there is the Branthwaite situation, which I think we've spoken about in detail quite a lot.
Yeah.
I think you said yourself, Alice, the sheer physicality factor and speed and sort of power that he has got and the experience in the Premier League coming at a premium. But I think you could get the other 2 for less than what Branthwaite is. And that's probably the biggest argument in all of it.
Yeah, how we spend our money, being efficient with it is because I think we need about 5 to 6 signings because it's very different. And it's like, you don't want to spend 60, 70 million on Branthwaite, but Diamande, I heard a rumor that his release clause is like 47 million or 40, which is just a bit cheaper. And I think, Schlotterbeck, I'm not sure what Dortmund will do, but I think there's definitely some, when you look outside the Premier League, you seem to just get a little bit better value for your money. I think Premier League clubs inflate the price. Do you know what? I completely agree with these 3 picks, to be honest. They're like 3 names that I'd welcome at United. Particularly, I like the idea of Schlotterbeck, because he doesn't get mentioned too much when people always talk about, oh, who do you want at United? Who do you want at United? But I think because he's sort of could play left back, left centre backs, quite versatile, quite good on the ball, but also good defensively. I think he brings in a bit of what we need. The other name that stood out to me was, and I don't think we'll get him, but it's similar to Schlotterbeck. I quite like Lukabar of Castello Lukabar of RB Leipzig. Again, another left footer, very good on the ball. I feel like he could also play left back if needed. And then Hincapie.
There's rumours about him actually being sold on this summer from Leipzig as well. I think we're entering one of them summers where Leipzig cash in, because there's a few that are leaving, like Shesko's leaving as well, Lekeba as well. Like you said, I think it's one of them summers. So I think everyone's eyes are on the situation with Leipzig this summer. And obviously our links with Christopher Vivel as well could always come in handy in that situation.
Yeah, 100%. He has been linked to Real Madrid and a couple of teams, but it could be one to keep an eye on depending on the price. And then the other name I had down with a question mark on was Hincapie of Bayer Leverkusen, sort of a fullback again, but I would rather have Schlotterbeck and Lukabar over him. And then a name I had down, and this was in the summer, but I don't think it's going to happen because he's been really good at Chelsea. And it's a bit of a controversial one, but I said in the summer, if we can't get Branthwaite, United could look at Levi Colwill.
I like him.
Yeah, I really do. But he's been having a very good season at Chelsea. They're quite short on the centre-backs. I thought when they were selling the academy players in the summer, we could get him. And I think maybe in the summer, had we pushed, there would have been a chance. But I think right now, he's probably untouchable unless we pay a fortune, because Chelsea like to mug us off.
That under-21s Euros win definitely put him on the map, I feel. And I think he basically forced himself into that Chelsea side with the injuries. Obviously, you'd have thought Fofana's coming back. Maybe he'll be pushed out a little bit with all the defenders that they had coming back. Obviously, they bought in Adebayo as well, didn't they, in the summer? You think maybe, but again, young profile player, and that Premier League experience. I just wish that United had some academy players coming through. But honestly, like looking at United's squad right now at our academy level, it's top heavy with talent from midfield and forwards. Defensively, not saying that we haven't got them there, we just don't know. Like Fredrickson, very good defender, but I just wish that we had someone coming through right now, because it would be the perfect time. We didn't have to go out and find two centre backs like we both agree we need. Then there's always that little make weight, like, you know what I mean? Like Willy Cambuala was there, and that could have been the fifth one, couldn't it? But it's a shame.
Annoying. Yeah, I'm with you on that. There's a kid, Godwill. I can't pronounce his surname, so I'm not going to try and pronounce his surname. It begins with a K. Absolute unit, but I think he's only 16. But I think in a couple of years, he could be one. But I always think with academy players, when they're 16, I don't get carried away. It's when they're 18, I see them maybe breaking through a little bit. I think there's a massive difference in those 2 years. And people obviously talk about Amas, but I said, like, Amas isn't 18, 19. He just turned 17 before we went on pre-season. I was like, Amas is one that could break through this year, but I think next year, realistically, just physically, could be key for him. But as we said earlier, I do think he would suit Amorim's system. Now, I do have a few question marks about the right wing back situation, because I'm a big fan of Mazraoui. I think he's very technically good. I like Delo, but he's been hot and cold. But you know what you get with Delo. But I wouldn't say they're known for attacking output. And obviously Amorim likes quite exciting right wing backs. So it's sort of a difficult one. Do United look at that position? Do they go with Delo and Mazraoui? Sorry, or do they
I think they would. Yeah, I honestly feel it would. There's some people, honestly, some of the talk within the media. I was there last night in the press box, and it's like there's talk of all sorts of things. It's like trying Anthony at right wing back. Ahmad, could he do the job? Garnacho and his energy. I just look at Garnacho right now, and he looks shot. He doesn't look like he could get through 90 minutes to me right now as a wing back with the discipline that Amorim is going to demand on these players. And you know what? I would rather do what we're doing and like bring in the specialist player. I think Mazraoui can do it personally. From what he does and the way he gets up down the pitch, he's playing in midfield now anyway. Like yesterday, he spent more time. I think he had more touches in the opposition box than Højlund did.
Yeah.
He's forward an awful lot in that, and I couldn't even tell you what the system was last night, Alice. It was a bit scattergun. It was all over the place, but you could see they were trying free at the back at stages, back into a back four out possession, into a free. Casemiro dropping in as a third centre back. The two fullbacks were playing in midfields, packing out the midfield. There was all sorts. So Mazraoui being part of that, I think he has got the engine. And do you know what with him? He's a guaranteed 7 every single game. He just is solid. He's so reliable, and he's just unfazed by anyone who he comes up against. He's got that nasty streak, which we need. He's got the speed. He's got the technical qualities as well, I feel, Alice, to do it. Dalot, I think, is slightly behind him right now. His form is off, but I think he's knackered, personally. And then you go into the market and you're looking at what like Frimpong is going to be the big conversation, I think, this summer. I think he will leave Leverkusen. I think that's his time. You've got Dumfries, who's a free, I think, at the end of this season.
One for depth.
So, yeah, another one who's a bit older, but again, experience factor. And he likes his younger players, doesn't he, Amber? I mean, was it Cueto, the 17-year-old's Cueto?
Yeah.
Who plays there now for him? That's someone who we're supposed to be looking at. Is it Cuendo or Cueto? I can't remember how to pronounce his name.
Cuenda, but
17 again, Alice. We were just talking about Amas being 17, and this is a player that's playing at the highest level in the Champions League at 17.
City. Yeah, and I was going to say he would have been my option for right wing back because, as we said, we like Mazraoui, could do a job there, could even play in midfield or centre back under Amorim. You never know what he'll do. But I think with Coenda, you're not just signing a right wing back, but you're also signing another winger, so he could play in the front three or in the back five. So if the front three are crap, I guess you've almost sort of, yes, he's 17, but maybe ticked an extra box with that, because I don't think right back's a priority, but I also think, because I think we need a left wing back, first, 2 centre backs, a midfielder or another attacker. But it's like we still probably need a right wing back as well, and he could tick a few boxes.
Yes, yeah, options, versatility. I'm not a fan of versatile players, to be honest. I like I like to know where my player's playing and just be a master of one trade instead of a jack of all trades. That's just how I'm old school with that. But I like to know that they're playing in a certain position, and when that team comes out, I'm just going to say, yeah, he's playing there, he's playing there. I don't want to be surprised by someone playing from right wing back in at number 10, for instance. I know that was a bit of a crazy moment, but anything is possible after what we've seen this season watching United. But yeah, I don't think it's going to be a priority position at all, right wing back. I think he has got options there, and I think he has got willing players to play it. So not an area, but obviously there are players out there that would strengthen us massively
100%.
in that department. And who's to say that Dalot or Mazraoui, if we're struggling, can't come into that back three at some point as well? I mean, it's not a far out comment, I don't think. I think you could have fullbacks in at that back three, because you could always have a guard, say, drop in as a centre back if they push. It's versatile. It's not versatile. Sorry, it's an adaptable system that he's got. So, and as Ugarte has played centre back for Uruguay as well. So there you go. There's options, isn't there?
Yeah, 100%. I think, Dalot and Mazraoui, if it's a back three, could drop into right centre back. We've seen Luke Shaw drop into left centre back in back fours and back threes. Malacia, I think, even played centre back once or twice for the international duty with the Netherlands. I mean, we talk about Luke Shaw and Malacia, but they're never fit. But definitely things that we can do, and I think Amorim will definitely find something. And I think for me, one of the most difficult positions to pick is sort of the midfield, because it's trying to figure out what Amorim's going to do. I think Ugarte Meno could be it. I think Casemiro and Eriksen I expect to leave in the summer. Eriksen obviously out of contract. Mason Mount, would Mason Mount and Bruno be more in the front three? There's a lot of question marks around it. And I think midfield is, again, one where we might need someone a bit more defensive minded to replace Casemiro. We might need someone a bit more attacking minded to replace Eriksen. It's so difficult. Is there any standout name for you? Realistic, unrealistic?
Oh, do you know there's a far out shout coming right here, right now? I would say, obviously, there's a lot of moving parts with this one because of the case with City, obviously the shareholder investment into clubs, but Bruno Guimaraes' situation at Newcastle.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what? It's like they have to sell to buy. But I'm thinking the case with City and what's happening with these new rules that the Saudis may just test the Premier League's resolve sooner or later and just go in and spend some money. I think they're getting impatient with not being able to flex their muscle, let's say.
100%.
Financial muscle, that is. But Bruno's situation there, I would give anything to have that player at Manchester United.
Oh,
That would
100%.
take so many boxes. And I know there is a bit of an ongoing sort of debate at the moment within Newcastle fans. What's happening? They have to sell players. The situation that's there. Him, yes, definitely. In terms of another dream forward thinking, I love Florian Wirtz. I think he is brilliant. We've already said Angel Gomez as well in that other end. I don't think we'll be able to spend that much, so I think we need to have a bit of variety in terms of
Yeah.
gettable and not gettable. Obviously, you've got Martin Hillman as well from Sporting right now, who's another player for Amorim at Sporting. He's his captain as well, isn't he? So again, that's an option for United, but it's dependent, I think, a lot, Alice, on, like you said, what happens with Casemiro now, because he started to play well. He's got 2 more years left on his contract. Does Amorim tap into that experience and know-how and expertise and use him for the next couple of seasons? We could try and cash in, but what realistically can we get for Casemiro?
True.
And that's the problem. I think it comes down to who goes. I think you will see Eriksen leave, which opens up that spot for Angel Gomez, I feel. But then again, some people will say, well, Xerxes or Ahmad maybe step into that role at some point. There's a few options, but in terms of midfielders, they're the ones that jump out at me anyway. But Bruno would be my far out shout. That
Yeah.
would be my go-to. That I think
that'd be unreal.
he would just absolutely tick every box that United are missing for a midfielder right now.
100%. I honestly, I didn't have Bruno Guimaraes on my list, but when I think of him, I think that guy he would tick every box. I've got a far out shout as well, and that is Camavinga. Again, cannot see it happening. It is a very far out.
Yeah. Do you know what else I had on my I had Tuamini as my other one as well because of the do you know, again, we just like the situation at Madrid and them two not getting utilised a lot. I understand totally with Camavinga with you on that shout, but Tuamini was the one I looked at as the other option as well because they can't fit everyone in, and sooner or later, like, someone will drop away. And you just don't know, do you? I mean, but Real Madrid are probably upset with us right now because we keep trying to steal all of their targets, so we might not be able to deal with old Florentine, will we?
Yeah, I'd absolutely love that, but it's a bit of a far out one. And then I like the guy at Brighton, Baliba, if I've said that right. He looks quite like a talent, but I want to see a little bit more of him before I make my mind up on him. But I think he's got a little bit of sort of, I'd say, like, energy about him. And I think under Amorim, if you looked at the intensity they played with versus City, I think there's definitely a need for someone with legs, someone with energy. And then my other 2 shouts are Stiller of Stuttgart, very good on the ball. I think Liverpool could go for him if they don't get Subamende in January, to be honest. I think there's going to be competition for him because it's quite and Man City might look at him because with everything going on at Rodri. And then part of me likes Adam Wharton, but I think he's a little bit overhyped, a little bit overrated. I almost think he's
not had a great start, has he?
Yeah. So it's like I would put Adam Wharton there, but I'm a bit mixed with him. And then another player I quite like is Palacios, actually, but he's had a few injury issues. I don't know if you've seen much of him, but when I've watched Leverkusen, he's sort of one of my standout names.
Yeah, I mean, anything that worked with Xabi Alonso in that side. And if you notice, like, how many players we're picking from the Bundesliga right now as well.
I know, it's the energy.
It is, isn't it? It's that high intensity in the midfield. It sort of grabs you, doesn't it? And it's like, oh, if only. Like, but you look at some of the Premier League teams as well, like we've mentioned, and how they play. You just picked up Brighton and Palace. I picked up Newcastle. They're like miles ahead of Manchester United's intensity, and it's strange how we just cannot get more out of what we've got in our team. It's weird, but I get every single one that you've brought up there. These. I guarantee all of these players will be on Manchester United's list. They'll be on every top team's list, won't they? But it's how clever you are, I think, in the transfer market and what you do. And a lot for us is positioning where we finish this season in terms of how much money we've got to spend, and then who can we get rid of? Because we are going to have to fund it some way.
Yeah, that's the thing. And as you said, do we sell Casemiro? Do we not? It's a difficult one. Another random name I picked out, and he really impressed me in the Euros, was Fabian Ruiz. They brought João Neves in. They're bringing a lot of midfielders. He's a little bit older, but I'm not against bringing in someone of maybe 27, 28, because I think I like bringing in young players, but this team does lack character, does
Mm.
lack leaders. And I'm more than happy to bring in like the odd name. Like Arsenal brought Marino in, who's 28. But other than that, they've been signing young players. And I think every now and then it's good to maybe bring someone
Yeah.
in who's a little bit older. But look, there's a lot of good midfielders on the market. I know I'm going to get comments being like, "Why have you put Camavinga there? Why have you put
Yeah,
Bruno
you're not being
Guimaraes there?
realistic.
Never going to happen." But we're just saying, we don't think it would happen. We don't think Wirtz is in our budget. Musiala's another one I would absolutely love. But they're
Oh,
names that, you never know. And I think with Lenny Euro, we know that we're 99% not going to get a lot of these players, but with Lenny Euro, we can't just rule anything out just yet.
yeah.
Going into attacking midfield
Oh.
slash wing, really, because he plays quite central attacking midfielders. Is there any standout name or a couple of names for you?
In terms of attacking in like a 10 role, really, I would use the players that I've already brought in. I'm not going to bring anyone into the attacking role. I'm more like moving away from that area because we're so stacked. And I'm more into the centre forward sort of area. The types and profiles of strikers, I think, has been Manchester United's biggest issue. And I feel like we've got so many players that, like we've said before, have been misprofiled. I don't actually have a definite out and out 10. I mean, obviously, Wirtz can play there. Gomez can play there as well. There's plenty of players that can step into that role. But right now, no, I wouldn't even go there, Alice, personally.
Not even
I
a
think it's
winger.
no. I mean, there are obvious wingers out there. But I'm just looking at it right now, and I'm going, Garnacho. I still believe in fully. I really do.
Yeah, same.
Ahmad, I really believe in. And then you've got Kovov in. I feel in wing areas. And again, if we sold Anthony, and I'd be into the market, I just don't know if we're going to be able to get rid of him. I don't know if we
Yeah.
are.
Oh,
I mean,
that's
you
gonna be
could
tough.
think how many players on the wings that would come into Manchester United side? There are plenty, aren't there? There's
Yeah.
so many. But are we going to be using wingers?
It's a
With
it's a difficult one because we're using wingers, but they're quite narrow, and the way that we play, Xerxes can almost operate as, because he almost plays like a shadow striker and a
mm,
left forward and a right forward. They're very narrow, so it's like he uses wingers, but I think the type of wingers he uses would be more of a Kudus or an Eze.
mm,
People that have shown they can play wing and number 10. And I've always said
yeah,
this, if you look at Cole Palmer, Kulusevski, Kudus, and Eze, they're not touchline wingers. Touchline wingers, your Antonys, your Garnachos, they're players that can play 10 and wing, and it's that mixture there. And I think with you, as you say, I think we need to improve there. I do think we need to improve there, but we have Mason Mount. Who knows what's going to happen with him? I mean, at this rate, I think I'd sell him just because of the injuries. You can't rely on him. Xerxes could do a job there. Ahmad, Rashford, Garnacho. There's a lot of names there. And now there's
mm,
one name I absolutely love, who's more on the wing side of things. And I'm going to paste his name because I don't know if I can spell it, but that would be Kvaratskhelia. For me, it's not going to happen. Napoli
yeah,
will not give him to us for a reasonable price. But people talk about Rafael Leao. I'm convinced this guy's a level head of Rafael Leao. Whenever I've watched Napoli,
mm,
he's stand out for me 100%. And then Xavi Simons could be another one. Eze, Kudus were sort of names I had on my list because I
yeah.
think it's the versatility. But as you said, I think it depends on what happens with Mount, what happens with Anthony, all of those kind of things. And then my really long shout, because I think he's going to leave Real Madrid because, Mbappe, Vinicius, it's not working. Rodrigo could be on
Rodrigo,
the
yeah,
he
yeah.
could be. It's a
I mean,
difficult.
they've got too much up top there, and this is what we're saying. This falls into the same sort of Tuamini Camavinga midfield situation. They can't keep everybody happy. They are stacked, and like Rodrigo definitely is a player I think will be surplus to requirements soon enough, like a couple of the other players at Real Madrid. But it's. I think. Do you feel like Ancelotti's going to be there at the end of this season? There could be big changes at Real Madrid
Yeah,
come the end of the season,
100%.
but I mean, there is like Kvaratskhelia. I love him, but I think his buyout is ridiculous, and I
Yeah,
just
it's
don't
not realistic.
think. Obviously, PSG want to sell Javi Simmons this summer because they can, and they don't have to give any money back to PSV for him. This was their sort of period now where they sold him on the previous 2 summers. They'd have to give a big chunk to PSV as a sell-on, but this year, I think it's the third year in that they don't have to. So I feel Simmons will be sold. He's been loaned out forever and a day.
100%.
So I think he will be sold. I think you're dead right on that one. Depends how much again on Simmons. Like on loan, I like the idea. I really did.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, Eric Ten Hag was there. Like obviously the Ruud van Nistelrooy factor with him having him at PSV as well. I thought that would have worked, but Ruud's leaving. Ten Hag is gone now, and you've just got to look at that and go realistically right now. I'm looking at Amorim, and it's how he plays it. It's how he plays it. I'm sort of like
100%.
every other area of the pitch, apart from wingers, I'm really just not sure on them. How he's going to play, how narrow that front three is going to be if he plays it. The shadow striker, whether Bruno steps in. And then you're
It's
looking at possible talent from Manchester United's academy stepping up as well from that area, because
yeah,
we are
got a
stacked
few.
in that area, and we have got some really talented players coming through. So, yeah, I'm excited by the fact that we could see someone coming in there, or even an academy player coming through. But again, that isn't my priority area. I think when we move on to the striker, that is where everything comes down to what's going to change United. I feel like the profile of striker is everything for United. If we were going to spend money, Alice, and blow our whole budget on one position, striker, 100%
Okay.
goal scorer.
I'm going to let you get into your striker options because I could tell you really want a striker.
Last season, I thought was the right season to go for a striker. But this summer, I think it's getting a little bit sparse. Obviously, cheaper option, Jonathan David, straight in there for me. I think he's improved and
Yeah.
improved and improved every single
Yeah,
season. And I
definitely.
can't believe no one's picked up on him. And he's just reliable. I don't understand how no one else has taken him from there, but he's out of contract. So you could get 2 strikers. I would get David and Gyökeres, honestly. I know Gyökeres is the obvious one,
God,
but
he's so good.
he is unbelievable. And I would blow the whole budget on him if it meant not getting any other player. That's how serious I am about the striker situation. There are other strikers, obviously, out there that are decent, but I'm banking everything on him because on what I've seen, what I've watched, and then what he did to Manchester City's defence, I mean, he made Haaland look like he just outclassed him in every way. There's so much more to his game than what Haaland's got. I think he will be better.
Yeah, no, he's an absolute monster. I sort of watched a little bit of Coventry when he was there, the playoffs, and he obviously
Yeah.
didn't have the best playoffs. And I was like, oh, but he's been really good at Coventry. Could we take a risk on him? But at Sporting, he's just been this monster under Amorim. And when you watch him play, he's so fast, he's so strong, he just runs, his movement is unbelievable. It's phenomenal. I think a lot of people want Victor Gyökeres, and he's up there for me. My other option is Benjamin
you've got Sesko as well. I did have Sesko there as an option as well, but I just think Gyökeres is better.
100%. And I also think with Sesko, there's a lot of similarities with Højlund in terms of the age, the profile, do we want another young striker? Because, and this might be an unpopular opinion, I do generally believe that Rasmus Højlund can be a top player. I think there's things he needs to work on, like his touch. But I look at him and I think I see him, and this is what makes me worry about bringing in a striker. I think Gyökeres is top, but it's the intelligence of the players around the striker, and I think Amorim will hopefully fix that. I'm seeing Højlund make a couple good runs every match. Players not playing in the ball when they should be, in my opinion. I'm like, and the kind of runs that you'd see Gyökeres make, I'm seeing Højlund make a few of them. Doesn't get played the ball. Højlund's then surrounded by 50 centre backs, and they pass in the ball in these areas where he doesn't really want the ball. And I think my biggest concern is with the striker. improving the intelligence of the wingers, the playing it into them, because Højlund's raw is not perfect. Xerxes, I think he'll benefit in Amorim's system playing with someone like Højlund or someone like Gyökeres to feed off. But it is definitely, like, for me, I do really like Rasmus Højlund. I do think there's a really good player there, and I'm going to fully back him. And that's why I'm like, if we don't get a striker, it's not the end of the world for me, because I believe there's something in Højlund. And I just feel like Sesko could come in and he could have a lot of the same problems as Højlund, getting the ball in the wrong areas. Very similar player. I think Gyökeres has got that experience to maybe do a bit better. But that does worry me. I don't know if that's ever been a concern for you.
Yes, they are pretty similar, Sesko. Good mates as well, believe it or not, aren't they? Højlund and Sesko. So it would be funny, wouldn't it? But again, it's like, would he play two of the same type of player? He wouldn't. It's one or the other, isn't it? And I feel like Højlund, because he's so young, shouldn't be playing at the sort of expectation level he is right now. We really have built him up to be Manchester United's number 9 now, that it feels like he can't go back. And this is where decisions that Amorim has got to make are going to really come to the fore. It's like he may go, right, I don't think that this player is ready and we need someone who's going to score goals. I would have bought Guirassy last season straight out. I thought he was ready-made for United. Dortmund, they do some business, Dortmund, honestly. I'm sometimes jealous of how they get business done and the players that they get in. I would have bought Guirassy in. Obviously, there's Vlahovic as well as another option, experienced and older player. But again, you just nailed it there, Alice. It's like you're sort of leaning towards trusting Højlund and hoping, because you love him so much and you want him to do well. There's a cutthroat decision that needs to come. He might have to step aside and be a second striker, and that's down to poor recruitment from previous years. But if Ineos are serious about taking United forward, then some big decisions need to be made, and there's going to be a lot of players that are upset by him. But look, with these players are the ones that are consistently underperforming for us as well. We will see. Do you know what? In all of this next 6 months with Amorim now, and if he gets more out of these players, he's going to tell us a lot as to what's going to happen in the transfer window as well, I feel.
100%. I think this is one of these videos where we might put these names down here. Obviously, some we know aren't probably going to happen. They're quite unrealistic. But we might sit here in May and June and have these same conversations to be like, oh, wasn't so-and-so fantastic when Amorim came in? And, so-and-so wasn't so good. And maybe we need to look at that. Amorim could come in and, for all we know, Højlund could get 20 goals in the Premier League. I don't think that'll happen. I don't think it'll be that kind of impact. And we'll be sitting there going, well, Højlund's got 20 goals, blah, blah, blah. But, Luke Shaw and Mason Mount are injured again. We'll probably be saying that. Get them out. It's going to be really interesting. And just to sort of finish up the video here, I wanted to just go through sort of these names, and I maybe pick out 6 players with some elements of being realistic. I think we know left wing back's a priority. I think Alphonso Davies is the dream, but I don't know how realistic it is. But I mean, I'm more than happy to pick him for the left wing back role because he's available on a free and we could push on the wages. But unless you think someone's a bit more...
No, he's top pick. Realistic and gettable, and he's just brilliant, I feel. I think he is top. One right up there in the top 3 targets of all positions, I think. So Davies definitely in there. I think realistically, Alvaro is 100% gettable as well because of the buyback. So I think he definitely ticks. This is all dependent on Shaw and Malacia and what happens, obviously. But I think he definitely is gettable and realistic. And then I think in terms of centre-back, I would say I think Diamande and Branthwaite are more realistic.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
I think Diamande because of the obvious ties with Amorim. Branthwaite because we've already bid already. He's not signed a new deal with Everton, and they will be pushed. If they get relegated, it's a no-brainer. But I think they'll just escape. If he goes, then he's gone. I think we've got him instantly. Everton will never sell to Liverpool, and apparently they're the only other team involved at the moment or interested. So I think them two are realistic there. I think we can leave the right wing back as a priority.
Yeah.
I would say Quenda is probably the one that stands out of the others.
100%.
I feel, again, the young profile player, obviously knows the system, got the energy. Midfield, I would love to put Camavinga in there.
Same.
Bruno. But I don't think. I mean, Hillman. I can't see us getting too many players from Sporting. They're not going to give us everything, even though we have got a fantastic relationship with them for bringing players in. I think Gomez is definitely a possibility, and Alice, you pick one out of that. I don't know.
It's so difficult because I'd love to pick Bruno Guimaraes and Camavinga. They would be my picks, but
Yeah.
I don't see that happening. I think for energy, but I need to see a bit more of him. I'd probably just say for the energy factor, Belieber, Premier League proven, they might look at it. But very early days, as I said, we could be sitting here in May and we might be saying, oh, wasn't Wharton unbelievable second half of the season? Or if Palace go down, there's a possibility of him on the cheap. So I go with Belieber there. And I'm going to let you do the striker.
Do you know what? Sorry, I'm going in. Gyökeres. I do. I think there's an agreement in his contract where he can leave this summer for a cheaper price than what his so-called buyout is. Yeah, so that is, if you've got anything about you, United, that's the man that will change a lot at this football club. I think David's realistic as well, though, on a free. Honestly, I'd be getting both of them.
Yeah,
I would get both.
You really want a striker?
Yeah, honestly, I'm used to the days. I'm showing my age right now. 4 strikers. I mean, I said it the other day. An example of where Højlund would be back in 10 years ago when Ferguson was still managing. He would be behind Rooney, Van Persie, and Hernandez. For me, that's where Højlund would fit in. That's what we used to have, and he has been elevated from the Danny Welbeck Hernandez type of striker who sits in behind the best to the Van Persie and Rooney stature, and it's just not fair on him.
Yeah,
it's not fair.
100% agree. I remember saying in the last summer when we were in for Højlund, I said, "Oh, get Kane and then get Højlund as the guy to learn from." But then Højlund, and apparently, and this was the Athletic wrote, Atalanta said to Rasmus Højlund, if a team comes in with a 50 million bid, we will sell you. They agree with that. Højlund. John Murta comes in, and says the max we're going to pay is 60 million for him. And apparently Atalanta went, well, we were going to sell him for 50 million. And then he said 60 million. It's Man United, 64 million. They put the add-ons on 72 million. And I tell you what, that's one of the best things about maybe Dan Ashworth and Barada coming in is we probably could have saved 25 million on Højlund and we could have had funds to address somewhere else, which tells you all about how badly the club is run. And I think, there's people are a bit worried under Amorim, another manager that's going to fail. Alice, why are you getting so excited? And I'm like, well, this is the first manager that isn't going to be working with Murta, Arnold, Woodward. It might take a while, but I feel confident about what they're going to do in recruitment. But I tell you what, they're going to have to get recruitment absolutely spot on because Amorim's system is intense. It is different. We've listed some names here. There's probably going to be names we've not even thought about today that we might be saying in 3-4 months are perfect. And it's going to be difficult because realistically, I say 5 signings. And I think there will only be 1 attacking reinforcement because I think we've got players there. We've gone Gyökeres, maybe 1, maybe 2 midfielders if we get a fee for Casemiro. We've gone Belieber, but that one's got the biggest question marks around it for me. Left wing back, Davies, 2 centre-backs in Diamonde and Branthwaite. I mean, off the back of it, those 5 names in the summer I'd be happy with that. 100%.
Different. Changes the whole outlook. Changes because I feel like half of that team could play under Amorim right now that we've got.
I agree.
And we just are picking out the players that just add to that are going to fit into that system of his. And I think that is the key one. Obviously, the clear ones are going to be centre-backs because we need and we know what's leaving in the summer. I think they're the ones that everyone's going to be looking at. But I do believe that the forward, everyone knows United need a striker. And I think we need backup. Rashford can't do it as a striker for me. And we need that powerhouse. I think someone with that X factor. And we're going to have to fight off some serious competition. Again, fast forward me to Monday and let's start this Amorim era, Alice, and let's see what he can make of this team and how far we can get up that league table. I think he's going to have to win the Europa League. And then we can get whoever we want because we're in the Champions League.
Yeah, 100%. I just want to thank you so much, Adam, for coming on. And
Pleasure.
I'm going to give you an opportunity to just plug yourself. I'll put a link in the description so people know where to find you.
Yep, Forever United TV is my channel, bringing daily content. I'm in and around United all the time in Carrington. for press boxes like I was last night. I've caused a bit of a stir with my video from last night. Apologies in advance if anyone hasn't watched it and is going to go in and slag me off for it. But that's just what it is. I take risks, and that's what it's all about.
Thank you so much, Adam, for coming on. Make sure you go check out his channel. Great stuff over on there, and show him some support. Thanks everyone for watching. Please do subscribe on your way out. Hit the like button, and I'll see you next time.